folks, AK Option Trader back at you again with another look at stock market charts and market commentary for the first week of June. It's already stinking June, can't believe it. First of all, I must apologize for last week. I really had sporadic posts last week, but it's just real busy. Like I said, soccer season. I'm coaching soccer, actually, helping out on a couple teams. So got a couple kids involved, so I'm going to be busy all week. And if I can't get to it, I can't get to it. I'm not going to stress about it. But I will when I can, so you're just gonna have to keep checking. All right, so let's do our weekly look. Since it's the end of the month, we're going into a new month. Let's kind of see where we're at. We're going to step back and take some long-term looks. So let's start with the VIX. This is the VIX on a weekly chart. All right, what you can see on the VIX on the weekly chart is we did have the breakout out of this gray box. Remember this gray box I've been watching? It looks very similar to over here, where it came up, consolidated, took off. Same thing here. We're looking for consolidation, which it kind of did. It didn't do it as long as I thought it would, and then a breakdown or a break up. It looks like it's breaking up. It's kind of holding above the box here. And if we go back even out to 10 years and look at the monthly, you can see it's out of the box a little bit. It absolutely popped up out there, you know, with the flash crash and all that junk going on. Blew out to the upside quite a bit, but it just closed out above it a little bit. So we're starting to see definite change in pattern, a definite increase in volatility and fear into the index. Let's see how it goes coming into the indices. So this is the Dow on the weekly, okay? Dow on the weekly, the 200 moving average came into play this weekend, something we've been talking about, or I've been talking about forever. So watch this 200. 200 held. It held strong here. You know, we broke above it, broke right back down beneath it. We're now back down to the bottom Bollinger Band, and every time we touch it, we rally off it. This is on a weekly, rally off of it, okay? So this 1013, 10,136 is kind of where we close at on that big move down Friday into the close, which you should have been expecting. I was kind of looking for my futures trading on that day just because going in a 3-day week and all the fear that's been out there, just figured there'd kind of be a sell-off into the close there. But when you look at this, you can see we came up, tested the 200 moving average, came down, and it looks like we should make another run up at it. Okay, that's on the weekly. Now, if we drop back to the monthly, you know, we're way above it still on the monthly. But look at this candle here. And if we get rid of the studies here, if you just look at this candle right here, get rid of the drawings. This is a pretty big candle, pretty big bearish candle. One we have not seen, and you've heard them talk about it on the news, for a black candle until the bottom here in February. That's the last big black candle we've seen like that. And that's what we're looking at here. So this is a very, very bearish month. Now, 1 month does not a trend make. I would expect if it's going to start turning over, you're going to see 2 or 3 or 4 months of black candles in a row. So we need to watch this and watch it on the closer charts, like we've been doing on the weekly and the daily, like you see on the post. So back to the weekly, you can see it's just kind of down, down, down. 1 week up. All four of the last 5 weeks have been down, touching the bottom Bollinger Band and kind of rallying off every time. But it's just kind of trending down there. Volume's kind of petering out a little bit this month, as expected going into summertime. All right. And if we look at the SPX, same type of thing, except the SPX actually had a slight up week and actually have almost a reversal candle here on the weekly chart. All right. Same type of thing. It's still above the 50 moving average. It did close beneath the 20 moving average for the third month in a row, okay? Third week in a row, pardon me. Third week in a row beneath the 20 moving average. Came up, tested the 200 moving average and pulled back. And normally what I look for is another move up, another retest, and that's usually my favorite short spot, okay? I don't know that it works as good in the indices as it does in the individual stocks. But what impressed me the most on this is looking at the monthly chart. This is a pretty big candle. It's a pretty big bearish engulfing candle. Barely a bearish engulfing candle, but a bearish engulfing candle nonetheless, blah, 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 on the monthly chart. It did rally off the 200 moving average on the monthly chart. Okay, pulled up a bit. I would expect it to test this bottom of this 200 moving average again. Okay, looking at just strictly monthly, so long term. Remember, every day I look at the dailies to see what it's going to do the next day, next 2 or 3 or 4 days, or the next following week. At the end of every month, we look at this stuff to see what's going on. Oh, we got a phone ring to see what's going on with the other stuff there. That's my wife's phone. Can't shut it off. So we go back to the weekly chart. Down, come up, touch, rally down, bottom Bollinger Band. Wants to keep going back up. You can see all the resistance levels I have there, and we'll talk about the daily stuff later. And then NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is completely different. Completely different than the other ones. This is what caught my eye. Look where this thing held up. It held up above the 200 moving average. It did not close beneath the 200 moving average on the weekly chart. Okay, held up with kind of a hammer candle, not a true hammer, but a decent one, an okay one on the 200. So this to me looks like a bottom. I would expect a bounce up off of here on the NASDAQ. And like I've been saying forever, I've expected the NASDAQ and the Russell to lead this move down when it comes. And right there, looking at the weekly, it looks like it should go back up. On the monthly, it's another bearish engulfing candle. So it looks like it should come back down. But if you look back here, this too is a bearish engulfing candle. And what happened? Nothing. It went up the next month and rallied back up. We could see the same type of thing. Maybe a harami type candle inside here and then 1, 2, 3 months up or something like that. So keep an eye on it. But watch this high, this level right here, this the open right here, this 2471, 2472 area. Watch that area very closely for closes above that on the monthly. If this thing holds, this 2471, 72 area, I think this thing may be turning down and heading for another move to the downside. One more we'll look at real quick is the Russell. Again, back to the weekly chart. You can see it took out the 200 moving average pretty easily with this nice big bearish engulfing candle and kept moving down. Took out the 20. Now it's finding it's dipping its toe beneath support, and the more times it does that, the less support it becomes. The less it holds, the easier it is to break. Okay. Now I will be watching this line right here, this channel, when it gets down here to see if this holds, and I think it will. I think this will offer some support. It's going to coordinate here with the 50 moving average on the weekly, so I think that's going to offer some kind of bouncage. Yes, that's a new word, bouncage. And then it's not quite a bearish. It is a bearish engulfing on the monthly near the top Bollinger Band, so I'd be looking for a little bit of a pullback on this even. Okay, same. They're all pretty similar except for the NASDAQ seems to have a little more strength than everything else. So looking long term, looking back, this very well could be a top going on here. Very well could be a top forming. I think it'll take a few weeks to determine that, but it would not shock me. On the dailies and the weeklies, things look a little more mixed, a little more like they could go to the downside to me. This coming week, I'd be looking for some down moves on these. You got a lot of like this, haramis, a lot of short moves up. These are all daily charts here. A lot of short moves up. Most of these, this is the Dow running into the 200 moving average on a retest. Okay, here's the SPX on a retest of a move off the Bollinger Band. So I think they're going to have a hard time breaking through this. It'll probably have to be, like I said last week, a gap up above it. There's the NASDAQ. Like I said last week, you'd have to look for an open up above, a gap above, and we did have that last week on the NASDAQ for this to hold, and I think it will hold. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that phone, and then we're going to look at some some regular stock charts, okay, off of these indices. All right, let's finish this up with a couple regular stocks to look at. So let's start with Joy G. This one's kind of been in the news a little bit, so I thought I'd throw it out there. I kind of like this chart for a short. I like the fact that it came up, rallied above the 200 moving average, which is your retest. Could not hold it on one day, closed beneath it again. I like this thing to drop back down here and probably retest these lows around 44, 45. It might stall out here at this minor support, but we'll see. So I'm looking for this for a down trade. I'd use the 200 moving average as my stop. A close above it, and I'd be out in case I'm wrong, which I've been once or twice. SHLD, this is one I used to trade a lot. Shield. Boy, this thing got slow. This is one of my all-time old favorite ones. I used to trade this thing like a banshee. I kind of don't trade it as much anymore. Still play it once in a while. I love this here. I love this big drop. Okay, here's earnings, gap down, huge drop. Boom, boom, boom. Stall out, walking on the 200 moving average. What do you think is going to happen next? Me, I think it's going to go whoop and drop right back down to 70 or even lower. Who knows? A lot of air in here, so there's a lot of area for this to go if it does break this 200 moving average, and I think it's going to happen. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, and I may even jump in that one and short that just a little bit earlier than I normally would. And one more, CIT. This was a strong one a while ago. I talked about coming off this area here, moving up. It did take this trend out now. It has come down. It's having the obligatory bounce off the 200 moving average, but we got a bearish engulfing candle here. So I like this to head back down, retest the 200, and probably take it out and maybe head back down to the 50 area. So that's it for the week. We've got a lot of data coming out next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's light data. It might move the market, but it's not huge. But Thursday and Friday, I think we're going to see some market moving stuff. Keep an eye on the 200 moving average. That's what I'm going to be watching on daily, weekly, and monthly charts to see where I think we're going to be heading for this market. That'll be the AK Option Trader signing up. Trade well.